Hey you guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today we are headed out on the water on a foggy, drizzly morning to go chase some winter bass. Come along. The goal today is power fishing. I really don't even have any finesse gear in the boat. I don't even have a worm or a Ned rig or anything with me. We've got everything from swim baits to jigs, blade baits, crankbaits, A-rigs. We're just gonna go out and power fish. I like these conditions. I feel like the fish should bite. So we're gonna go out and see what happens. There we go. It's a nice fish right there. Cold winter jerk baiting. I really wanted to downsize, so I went to that Ronin spinning rod, Vision 110 Junior +1. A beautiful winter bass. Thank you. See if we can get another. Got him. Those long pauses make the difference. Got him. Man, that is fun. So I'm not using an insanely long pause. Water temp this morning is 44 degrees. So I'm using about a 4 to a 6 second pause. And we're on the Tennessee River, we're on Chickamauga. So I do have a little bit of current too. So as I'm pausing, my bait is drifting. So for the guy who's fishing a river system, you're wondering if you can do those long pauses? Yes. Those fish, river fish, are used to their bait drift, or their food drifting off, right? That's normal to them, so they don't think twice about hunting that thing down. So at first I'm just trying to get it down to a good depth. Then I slow down, let that thing sit. Missed him. Hard to believe you can miss with 9 hook points, but you can. So you guys know how much I love my X-Pride for throwing a jerkbait, my 610 medium. But when I want to go to really light line, when I want to be really finessey, got him. Going down to this Ronin, I can go down to 12-pound braid, 6, 8-pound leader, and I can get more bites. Just like that. Yeah, we've done a couple of fall jerkbait videos with you recently. The buyer's guides. We talked about how that Vision 110 plus 1, or the 110 Junior plus 1, just seems to have that magic something. And this is what I'm talking about. I didn't come out here thinking I was just gonna throw a jerkbait this morning. In fact, I went about an hour throwing a small swim bait, a jig, a blade bait, an A-rig, and a tactical crank, and a lipless. Just checking, just power fishing. I couldn't get bit. And I was about to give it up because I'm only coming out for a short morning. And I thought, you know, I'm gonna throw a jerkbait back up on this edge one time. So what I'm fishing, because you can't tell because I'm out here in this fog, obviously. What I'm fishing, it's a long tapering point, okay? Coming out to deep water. Much deeper on one side than the other. Perfect winter spot, right? There's a big flat and the point comes out and then it breaks to deep. I mean, if I could describe the place to be winter bass fishing, that would be it. So these fish are sitting on the deep side of the tip of that point, right where they should be. And I had caught them here over the last month or so. So I feel like there's fish here. Pull up this morning, conditions are awesome. It's actually a lot warmer than it's been. That's why I'm just in a hoodie, despite the water temp being 44. The air temp has come up. So these fish should have eaten, I would have thought. I was about to give up and just call it a day. You know, one of those days where you're like, today's just not the day. And I thought, no, I'm gonna throw that jerkbait back up there. And literally the first cast with the jerkbait, I caught that really good one. And that set it into motion. So we're gonna sit, work the edge of this point, see if we can catch a few more fish before we call it a day. So when I'm making these casts, the boat right now, boat's in 17 feet of water. And I'm throwing up onto the top of this point in about 7 or 8 foot. And that's not where the fish are. The fish, they're on the slope. So I work it pretty quick at first just to get some depth out of my bait. And then I really slow down, slow work that bait out over the top, suspended over that slope. And I'm pulling these fish up because they're sitting right on the bottom, I'm sure. Water's cold. There's a little bit of current here. They're not going to be up swimming around for no reason. So they'll be glued to the bottom. And that's why the jerkbait has to go so slow. So this time of year, you want that jerkbait to go as slow as you can and still be effective. And the reason why is that springtime, fall time. Water temps are up. Oh, I just broke off my jerkbait. I hadn't retied. 6-pound line. That's my fault. Dang it. Anyway, let's talk more about this. So this time of year, these fish, they're not chasing bait like they do early and late in the year. That time of year, you can be really fast, really aggressive. The fish are willing to chase. They're also up in the water column a lot of times because they are chasing. This time of year, when they get those bellies down in the mud, they're just glued there. They don't want to move. If you work a jerkbait over the top of them, they hear it, they feel it, they want to rise to that bait. But if you're going quickly, again, they have to rise to it. So if you're going too fast, they start to come up, but you're already gone. So you want to slow that bait down. Jerk, 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 pause. Jerk, pause. It gives that fish time to get there because they don't come shooting up. They come up slow. We've seen it in underwater footage so many times. They come up slow and they're sitting there looking at it, and then that next movement, boom, they hit that thing. But if you make that next move while they're still 3, 4, 5 feet away, they just don't do it because the water's too cold. So you want to go as slow as you can while still being effective, right? You don't want to sit in one spot all day. You don't want to make the same cast for 45 minutes. So there's some balance there. I usually try like a 3 or 4 second pause, then like a 5 or 6, and then like a 10 or a 12. You can go even slower if you know that the fish are there, but typically that like 10, 12 seconds is about my max, where after that I'm losing my mind, right? It's so slow that I'm like, I gotta find some other way to catch them. But by slowing down, it gives those fish time to rise to that jerkbait, and then on its next movement, they smash it. And jerkbait rod is everything. That rod I'm throwing there, that's the Ronin. You know, I love my 610 X Pride. That's my main jerkbait rod. That's a casting rod. It's phenomenal for 10 or 12 pound fluoro. If I want to go lighter than that, I go to the spinning. And it took me forever to find a good spinning rod for throwing a jerkbait because it's so hard to find the right action where you've got that crisp tip that can move a bait effectively without like slow pulling it. But then you still got that soft mid to absorb the fight with those little tiny treble hooks when you're fighting the fish. So finding the right rod for a jerkbait can be really tough. But thankfully I found a really good casting rod, a really good spinning rod, and we're always looking for more. All right, let's see if we can find some more fish. Well, I'll tell you what. Losing a jerkbait, that's bad enough, right? They're not cheap. Figuring out afterwards that when I cleaned out the boat, I forgot to put my jerkbait boxes back in. Now that's bad. So I sat there, tried to get those fish to go on reaction, couldn't get them. So I made a move, picked up the Tactical Flex, just started covering water, fishing very similar things. We are in 25 foot of water on the edge of an outside point. Same exact scenario, we're just sitting deeper. That fish just ate, if I was gonna guess, 15 to 20 feet deep. I'm running 3 16-ounce heads so I can get it down just a little bit more. And it got us that one bonus fish. I'll tell you what, it's hard enough to dial in a pattern. When you've got one dialed and you you know you're going to keep catching them. It just felt good, right? Couldn't catch them on anything, and then boom, 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 boom. And then I realized I don't have any more. That's brutal. So it felt really good to catch one on the rig. Definitely got bit. Got him. That fish, I mean, you want to talk about fish in a negative mood. That bass hit that A-rig probably 80 or 90. I'm assuming it's the same fish. I mean, it could be multiple fish, but I think it was one fish following the rig. He hit it at probably 80 or 90 feet, and then he hit it at like 30 or 40 feet, and then 25 feet out, he finally committed and ate it. That's crazy. I mean, that's as negative a mood as you're gonna get. These fish are in a funk. Totally makes sense why that jerkbait sitting over them was working. All right, guys, we've got to wrap it up here. This was going to be a short morning, whether I was catching them or not. I've got some plans, so I've got to get going. But today was one of those days where you really had to be on your toes. To me, the conditions seemed like a day where they would be going, but they're not. It was actually more evident with the A-rig at the end than it was even with the jerkbait. That A-rig, I was going as slow as I could go and still keeping the tails of those swim baits moving. And I don't think, sometimes I have to go back and watch the footage too, but I don't think that any of those fish ate on the twitch. It was on that super slow, steady crawl. I mean, they are just in a funk. But you saw what the jerkbait can do when they get in that funk. It's amazing. It just draws that core response out of them. Similar to an A-rig, similar to bottom hopping a lipless, similar to speed cranking, right? They each do it in their own way, but they each have the ability to get fish to react. So it was really fun to get on that jerkbait bite. I wish I had more of them because it would have been fun to stay on that bite, but that's all right. That's just part of it. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.